Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football channel for a brand new Chelsea FC news video. I think it's been like 5 days since I posted here on GBFC. I don't know about you guys if you're working in any kind of creative field, but sometimes there's absolutely no explanation for like a sudden just creative block. But even for Chelsea news videos, I've been like, I don't even know what to set the camera up and really talk about. Not because there's not been a lot of Chelsea news, but I feel as though when it does come down to Chelsea news, there have been a lot of times where I feel as though I've been repeating myself, talking about the same players, the same links, the same issues that Chelsea would need to overcome if it meant signing the player. And then it kind of just, I was just like, you know what, instead of just trying to put out a video for the sake of putting out a video, I will just give it a few days. And when I come back, I'll give you guys absolutely 110% of my Chelsea orientated energy. And today we have got an interesting one because it's one that's kind of come out of nowhere, but it is also, from a selfish point of view, one that really excites me. I'm going to be talking today about the Jack Grealish to Chelsea / Chelsea have become favourites to sign Jack Grealish from Aston Villa this summer, even ahead of the likes of Manchester City. I think Arsenal will link with for him. But obviously, if I was Grealish, I wouldn't go to Arsenal because I wouldn't take a step back in my career. But that being said, before we get into anything today, I do want to ask you to subscribe because Chelsea are the champions of Europe. We are creeping towards 200,000 subscribers here on GBFC, and it would be amazing if we can hit it because obviously England, they're going to win the Euros as well. 200k, Chelsea champions of Europe. That is a recipe for an absolutely delightful summer. But we begin this story by quoting some of the newspapers. I say quoting, I'm just going to mention there are a few newspapers that have reported this, including the Evening Standard, I believe, as well as a couple of other ones whose names we won't mention just for the sake of it. But Chelsea are now supposedly favourites to sign Jack Grealish, which in any other season and in any other world, this would be massive in the sense of Chelsea being linked with a player of the quality of Jack Grealish is fantastic. However, there is the big questions that need to be asked here about Chelsea, and if we are interested in Grealish, what would it mean for so many of the other players in the squad? And I always talk about sentiment. I always talk about players that we like, but the overall goal has always got to be for Chelsea to build the best squad possible so that what we saw on the 29th of May isn't just a one-off, once every 9-10 year thing. It's something that we can at least be challenging for every single season on a consistent basis in every single competition. So, Jack Grealish, I personally absolutely love Jack Grealish. I think he is not only a sensational footballer, but I think his attitude mentally on and off the pitch is absolutely fantastic. And I think you can see a lot of the England players in the current England squad, even if they don't play with Jack Grealish week in, week out, he's a very popular player within that England dressing room. He's the most important player for Aston Villa. And of course, as an Englishman who supports England, he's also English. And a lot of people say that George Benson only cares about the English players. It isn't true. I hear it a lot less now than I used to, especially when Lampard was the manager, because everyone kind of hooked onto these negative agendas and then tried to pull as much into that agenda as they possibly could. But Jack Grealish is a phenomenal footballer. And I think Chelsea, Jack is very good playing on the left-hand side, cutting inside. We know this season in terms of dribbles, Jack Grealish was, in terms of the games that he played, was attempting more dribbles and getting fouled more than anybody else, which to me, as a massive Eden Hazard fan and as somebody who, even though there were links for Hazard to come back, it's not going to happen, he's staying at Real Madrid, I think Jack Grealish is a very similar player to that of Eden Hazard. So for that sentimental reason, I absolutely love the idea of this. And I think if Thomas Tuchel is the man who has said, Chelsea, you know what? We need Jack Grealish. I think he is the player that I want to bring into this squad because I believe he's an upgrade on players that we have in that position right now. Then I always say, who are we to judge a Champions League winning manager if Jack Grealish is in fact the player that he wants? It does obviously have a lot of repercussions, a signing like this one. Jack Grealish, Aston Villa have said they want about £100 million for him, which is an absolutely monstrous sum of money. It's actually more than Man United look like they're going to be paying for Jadon Sancho. So in terms of is Grealish a better player than Jadon Sancho, I'd actually go as far as to say that I do believe at this moment in time, Grealish is far more suited to play in this Chelsea team than Jadon Sancho. But there is also the big caveats around this story is he prefers to play on the left. Christian Pulisic likes to play on the left too. Callum Hudson-Odoi, he also wants to be on the left-hand side of Chelsea's wing if he were in fact to have a choice. So in terms of do Chelsea necessarily need Grealish, I would say no, we don't need him. However, I'm such a massive fan of the player, I'm such a massive fan of his mentality, that if Thomas Tuchel is the one pulling the strings to make Chelsea go in for Jack Grealish this summer, then I 110% endorse the move. I think it would be very interesting to see a midfield where Mason Mount's there, Havertz is there, Pulisic, Grealish. You throw all of these names in there and then you've got your Hudson-Odois as well, but as I've said here on GBFC, I need to see more from Callum Hudson-Odoi before I start just throwing him out there as a potential multiple Champions League, Premier League winner for the next 5 years for Chelsea Football Club. But Jack Grealish, it is being reported by the papers that Chelsea are now the favourites. I don't really know too much about this. I'm also very aware that even though I've not been making Chelsea news videos for the last few days, things have gone a little bit quiet on the Chelsea news front, which can mean a few things. It can mean that obviously football reporting, journalism has been heavily dominated by the Euros, non-surprisingly. I mean, it's a big, massive competition and it's matches every single day. So that could be one of the reasons. But on a side note to that, Chelsea are often best when they're doing their business, when no one else is involved, when reports aren't coming out here or flying out there. Chelsea are very good at quietly doing their business, getting things done behind the scenes, and then when the announcements come, we're all like, blimey, where the bloody hell did this come from? Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, prime examples last season of where there were rumours, but in terms of the circulation of those rumours and developments and leaks of any information, Chelsea are very good at keeping things under wraps. So at the moment, considering news is very slow, I'm not entirely sure I fully believe in all of this talk about Grealish at the moment. I've addressed it today because I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the player. I think he's fantastic, but I think the quiet nature of Chelsea news right now regarding transfers is because Chelsea are behind the scenes working on things that in a few weeks' time, we will see either players leaving the club or coming into the club, or most likely both of those things are going to happen. There is rumours that Maurizio Sarri wants to take Ruben Loftus-Cheek at Lazio, which is one, again, I've spoken many times about my absolute love and adoration for Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think prior to that injury, in the season that Maurizio Sarri was here, and of course we won the Europa League, Ruben Loftus-Cheek was finally growing into the Chelsea shirt, growing into the Chelsea midfield. And then that friendly in the US where, well, the injury, he's not been the same player since. And I think, again, I always bring up the word sentiment when it comes to transfers, people leaving, people coming in. I think it's time to be very realistic with Ruben. I think somewhere still in there is a phenomenally gifted midfielder. And I firmly believe that if he moves on from Chelsea this summer, we will see a quality player come out of Ruben Loftus-Cheek for the next few years. Maurizio Sarri, who was a big fan of Ruben's and obviously put him in the squad on a more frequent basis, he probably would have been starting in that Europa League final if he didn't in fact get injured. I think Sarri rated him that highly, but it looks as though he could be on his way out to go to Lazio to reunite with Maurizio Sarri, Chelsea's Europa League winning manager. There's also talk that Kepa Arrizabalaga is also on the radar, which when you think about what happened in the Carabao Cup final, with Sarri trying to pull him off and him not actually coming off, that one doesn't quite add up to me, but Lazio are supposedly in the market for a goalkeeper this summer, so Kepa Arrizabalaga being reunited with Maurizio Sarri, along with his teammate Ruben Loftus-Cheek, it could be something that we see develop as the weeks go on. But yeah, going to keep this one short and sweet for you guys. I know there is a lot of football being played at the moment. There are 3 European Championship matches every day. And yeah, I don't want to flood you guys with too much excess information, but Chelsea are linked with Jack Grealish. And as always with these Chelsea FC news videos, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Do you want to see Chelsea go all out and push for Grealish this summer? Do you think that maybe Grealish is one of those slightly unnecessary signings with the players we've already got in similar positions? Again, I'm going to wrap this one up here by saying this. Chelsea spending 100 million on Grealish means that we pull out of the race for Erling Haaland, then I think that could be the wrong call. But let me know your thoughts on that, as always, in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you're new, and also subscribe to GBFC 2. The link is in the description. I'm posting roundup videos there on the Euros. They're a bit, at the moment, a bit late, but I'm still trying to get them out as quick as possible. As I said at the beginning, just had a bit of a creative block recently, and my best way of dealing with that is just to remove myself from creating content and then come back strong the way we did today. Tier list video out tomorrow. I promised it a week ago, but Chelsea tier list of all player performances this season will be in your subscription box tomorrow. So get those notifications on. I'll see you guys later. Come on, you Blues.